Alright, what is going on you guys, and welcome back to the channel. So, as you guys can tell by the title of this video, I'm going to be going over the best controller Fortnite sensitivity. I'm also going to be covering the best binds, the best dead zone, the best legacy settings, and all the other settings as well. So you have a bit of variety if you play on the advanced settings or the legacy settings. You have a bit of option, so you can see what works for you. And yeah, I'm going to be going over all of that in this video, talking about what's the best and what I recommend you use. But before the video actually starts, if you guys could use my creator code CoreyJT123 for today's item shop, because the skins are pretty insane. As you can see, we got the Dark Triceratops skin. There was actually kind of an exclusive skin, but now it's been released into the item shop, and we've got the Dark Rex skin as well. Nobody was expecting these skins to drop, so yeah, they are pretty nice. If you are purchasing them, make sure you use my creator code. But yeah, anyway, let's get straight into the video. Alright, so I think I'm going to start off with the actual binds, because in my opinion that's probably one of the most important parts of the actual controller settings, is the actual binds. So as you can see, here are my binds that I use. Obviously I play PS4 controller, but you can still kind of work around this if you do play Xbox, even though some of the buttons are already available on the Xbox controllers. So I've only changed a few things. I don't want to go over the top and just change all my binds. I want to keep it nice and simple, but I want to make some adjustments so it works better for me as well. So as you can see, I have my toggle pickaxe for L3 and touchpad as my edit. I also have my reset button as R1 as well, so when I reset my edits, that is R1. So yeah, starting off with the pickaxe, as you could see, that was L3. No matter what controller you play, PS4 or Xbox, that is available to you, and I recommend you use that for your pickaxe at least. But yeah, I definitely recommend you actually use that, sort of button for one of your binds, because if you think about it, your hands are always on the two sort of analog sticks, and it's really important you actually sort of bind that, because you can just click it instantly. It's always there, and it's a really good sort of bind to have. You can have this for your switch mode, so when you enter build mode, or you can have it as your pickaxe, which is what I have, because as I said, the option is always there to click it, because your hand is always on the analog stick. So yeah, that's the pickaxe. That's what I feel really comfortable with, and that's what works for me. And yeah, I definitely recommend you try that bind as well. As you can see as well, my actual edit button is touchpad. Now obviously if you play Xbox, you can have some issues because you don't have a touchpad button on Xbox. So I recommend, if you're an Xbox player, I'd probably maybe use L3 for edit, and then you can use your pickaxe or something else, because in my opinion, the best Xbox bind, since there is no touchpad, would probably be L3. So yeah, maybe you can have that and then change your sort of like bind for your pickaxe to whatever works for you, because as I said, these binds can be good, they can work for some people, but if it doesn't suit you and you don't feel comfortable playing it, then it's just no point. You need to find out what works for you, and kind of go around that. So yeah, that is that. And obviously for PS4, definitely recommend touchpad edit. A lot of people are saying, like, oh, I don't know what's the best edit bind, should I use triangle, should I use L3, should I use touchpad? If you play claw, I'd probably recommend triangle. That's what all the the good claw players actually play, so like Face Sway and all them. They use triangle for edit because they play claw, so their right index finger is always on X, square, circle, and triangle, so they can always click it instantly. But yeah, if you have like a Scuf controller, so you have like paddles on the back, then you can probably set one of the paddles to maybe edit, and then the other one to maybe pickaxe or switch mode. Again, you gotta see what works for you. But for me, and for most people who just use a regular controller with no Scuf, no paddles, you don't play claw or anything, just a regular sole position with the regular controller, then yeah, I feel like these binds are gonna work really well for the average player. And they're definitely some really good sort of binds that are really easy to get used to as well. It didn't really take me too long to get used to these, and I found it really comfortable to use. I have my left index finger, like near L1, I have it like kind of wrapped over, and then I touch the top of the touchpad with my left index finger. Now if you're wondering like how that works, I've actually got a hand cam video coming out soon. I've already got it all recorded, all edited. It's just a matter of time when I upload it, but I'm gonna try and get it uploaded this week, because I always get asked this question, like what finger do you use to click the touchpad for when I'm editing. So yeah, that'll clear up a lot of confusion on how I actually edit with touchpad. So yeah, look out for that video if you want to see how that actually works. But yeah, that's how I edit with touchpad, and that's in my opinion one of the best edit binds for controller. So moving on, then I'm going to be talking about the dead zone. So as you can see, this is the dead zone that I play. I have 0.16 for my left analog, and I have 0.14 for my right. So these are quite high. I know a lot of good players, like I think Faye Sway has it on like a 0.7 for both of these, which is really low. And personally, from my experience, when I actually have it on like a low sort of number like 0.7, 0.8, I experience a lot of drift. It even says at the bottom, very low dead zones can cause a drift, use at your own risk. But yeah, that's what I use for my dead zones. I'd probably put them on maybe lower if you want to, but as I said, this is what works really well for me. And yeah, if you're looking for like a solid dead zone that's really consistent, there's not really any drift with it, then yeah, this is probably the right dead zone for you, because you may just searched up like what's the best dead zone for controller to find this video. So yeah, that's the answer. If you want to like kind of get rid of all that drift and you want to feel more comfortable with like a good dead zone, then I'd recommend have it around anywhere between 0.12 and 0.16. I think anywhere between there is really good, and then you can maybe lower it a bit if you want to, but if there's drift, again, you might want to put it back up to see what works best. But yeah, that's the dead zone. Moving on then, I'm going to be moving on to the actual sensitivity settings. So I'm going to be starting off with the advanced sensitivity, and then I'm going to be talking about the legacy settings if you actually prefer to play them. So as you can see, for my standard sensitivity, I have my look sensitivity on 6 and my aim sensitivity on 3, which is kind of irrelevant though, considering I play advanced settings, so you don't need to worry about that. But that's kind of giving you an idea of what I actually work with before. But yeah, you can see my build mode sensitivity 1.6 and my edit mode sensitivity 1.4, obviously with the advanced options on. So I feel like that build mode and edit sense is a really good sort of base sensitivity that works well. If you want to put it up a bit, if you're like used to a high sensitivity, then go for it, but that's personally what works well for me. For the advanced look sensitivity, so I've got my look, horizontal and vertical speed both on 50%. I have to spend quite a lot of time adjusting this, even if it's just by 1 or 2%, because that small percentage can make a difference, and it's definitely worth finding the right horizontal and vertical speed sensitivity. And as you can see, for the other ones I have 0% and 0 seconds, and the instant boost when building off. If you are kind of confused about these settings still with the advanced ones, you don't really know what any of the settings mean or anything like that, then make sure to check out my video where I actually talked about all these settings and what they all mean, because some people are kind of confused about how they work. So yeah, I made a video on my channel talking about what these settings mean, and so like what they actually do in game, how they affect your performance. Here you can see my accessibility settings. You can pause the video if you want to have a closer look. The foot controller, I have that on. Visual sound effects, have that on. That helps me a lot, visual sound effects, so I can see footsteps, I can see people gliding and stuff like that. It really helps me, sort of like feel more involved with the game, and if I can't hear footsteps because someone's crouching, I'll be able to see it on my screen, so it works really well. And foot controller as well, yeah, I can go up more into detail about that if I wanted to. I made a separate video on it. You can just search it up, Corey JT foot controller or whatever like that, just type that in, and yeah, there's like sort of like more in detail video talking about the foot controller. But basically, to summarize what that does, it just kind of improves your like movement really. Like some people are kind of confused, like, do I actually need to buy an actual foot controller? But yeah, that's not the case. Just need to turn that setting on, and then you should be good to go. And moving on to the rest of the sensitivity options, because I kind of skipped them by accident. I should have done these right after each other. But you can see the rest of my settings here. I've got 12% horizontal and vertical, 0.10 seconds dampening time. I play exponential as well, as you can see from my look input curve. And yeah, those are the settings that I use there. Pretty basic, nothing really. I haven't really changed too much. I like to have a lot of the other settings like at the bottom just off, because I feel like they're just kind of useless. You don't really want to mess around with them. They cause, I don't know, I just don't really feel like they're really needed, and yeah, it works well for me just to have them on 0% and I'll have some of them off. But yeah, in terms of linear and exponential, this is a really popular question. What should I use? Should I use linear? Should I use exponential? Basically what linear does, if you don't know, linear is just like a straight gradual increase, where exponential is just a slow increase, so it's gradually gets sort of higher, and that's how your sensitivity works. So with exponential, basically the sensitivity will start off slower, and then as you sort of like turn around more when you're building and all that, the sensitivity will get higher and it will reach the maximum speed depending on what your build mode is. And for linear, it's always the same, so it's never like a gradual increase. So yeah, that's basically what it means. But I am going to make a video on that soon, talking about whether you should use linear or exponential, because obviously I use exponential. That works really well for me. But I want to sort of like go more in detail on covering that big question, like what's better, why should I use linear, why should I use exponential, what do they mean, and all that. So I'm going to go more in detail in a separate video. But yeah, look out for that soon. But anyway, moving on to the next few settings, let's just get straight into it. So I'm not going to go through every single setting because I feel like it's a bit irrelevant. You guys know that the gist of these though. I recommend applying all these settings. They work really well, and they're definitely good to have on. They make a good difference in game. As you can see, I've got auto open doors on. You know, you should always have that on. Confirm edit on release as well. I made a video on that literally 2 days ago, so if you want to check that out, I talked about more in detail. But as I said, well, as you can see, I actually have that off. I feel like it's a lot of disadvantages are sort of like come with that setting. So yeah, I personally like to have that off, and I recommend you do as well. But as I said, if you want to sort of like find out more about that, I already made a video on it around 2 days ago on the channel, if you want to check it out. But yeah, those are basically my settings, and moving on to the final setting as well, the legacy settings. So as you can see, I don't play legacy, but if you do, I'd probably have something like this. So I used to play a 0.75 for both my X and Y. I feel like that's a really good sort of base sensitivity, and as I said, if you can control a high sensitivity, then put it up. If you like it lower, then put it down. Controller targeting and scope, I have them on a 0.2 and a 0.16. Again, that works really well. You can maybe put it a bit higher if you want, but I like to have it quite low. My build mode and edit mode is 1.6 and 1.275 for my edit. So yeah, those are my legacy settings. Again, they work really well, and as I said, it's kind of important that you find your perfect sensitivity. You can sort of like adjust, you know, go into a creative, practice your building, you know, practice your aim and like an aim course and an edit course and all that, and sort of like see what works for you, adjust it to what works and what you feel more comfortable with, and yeah, you should be good to go. I made a video as well covering how to find your perfect sensitivity, if you want to check that out on the channel. But yeah, that's basically everything. You know, the main concept, I just recommend using advanced settings. I feel like that's better, it gives you more options, and I recommend you have, you know, the binds that I use roughly. I know a lot of people with like key binds, they just go all out, you know, they have like, they basically change their entire controller, you know, it's just, they change every single bind pretty much, and I feel like that's just not very necessary, it's not needed, and it can be kind of a bit too much really. So yeah, I recommend using the settings I do, and I said adjust them to what works well for you. But anyway, that is the end of this video. Hope you guys did enjoy it. If you did find it helpful, then make sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, and of course leave a comment down below and turn on notifications as well so you don't miss any new videos. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.